Hello, welcome once again to the Turret of Pleasure here in the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. I'm Zip Gun, the Lord Chamberlain of the Enchanted Kingdom, and we're going to get into it with Quad. I got another batch of Quadios. Now, if you don't know what Quadios are a product of Rhino, who are essentially, and you can, is this even going? Hold on a second. Yeah, it is. Rhino is an arm of Warner Music. So it's the giant major label. And somebody at Rhino is kind of the collectible arm, if you will. Somebody at Rhino decided that, hey, we've got all these master tapes of classic records. Some, anyway. Some aren't classic, but they still have the master tapes of when the Warner Music Group, dabbled heavily in the quadrophonic phenomenon, which is known now as 4.0 surround, I guess. And back then there were record systems that would translate stereo grooves of a record into 4 separate channels. And there was 3 separate types that weren't compatible. So you're not going to believe this. It didn't work. I mean, it ultimately failed. But there was a hot moment, 5 years, where quadrophonic was kind of an audiophile popular thing. You know, the audiophile guys, they'd go out and buy the quad version of the record if it became available. And quite a few titles, of course, came out in quad. So in the ultimate nostalgia trip, and this really is nostalgia, Rhino has delved into their vaults, and they are releasing, and they're doing it in a way that really annoys the hell out of me, but whatever. They're doing them in what they call bundles. And they put out 4 at a time. It's overseen by a guy whose name I forget about, Foraging Rhino. He's on the quad message board. We're getting nerdy here, folks. Anyway, somebody is in charge of this. I wish it was me, but it isn't. And they are pillaging the vaults, as it were, for quadrophonic master tapes that might be of interest to very well-heeled, they're going to be aging collectors, like myself. Now, I love quad. I was a big quad nut. We have gone through a few of these things, and I bought the whole number 1, and they were, because of a variety of factors, some of which are Rhinos, these things are friggin' expensive for me. The bundle concept, I kind of like it because it's essentially you pay for 3, you get a 4th one free, which meant that I carried a few. And they've just recently put out quad bundle 7 and 8, or 6 and 7. God, I'll never get this right. 7 and 8. And so I was pissed off at them because these were so expensive. And they were putting out stuff like America, stuff I don't want. Bread. I don't care about bread. Not for $30 Canadian, or whatever these end up costing me. So I kind of forgot about them for a while, and then I kind of looked and went, whoa, wait a minute. There's 2 out. And they both were like, okay, there's 3 of the 4 I want. So I bought them. This was cripplingly expensive. I mean, these are really not cheap. Even with the free CD, they were a lot like $30 each, Canadian. All in. The exchange rate's killing me. And there's a weird wriggle where Rhino charges me GST and PST, and then Canada charges me GST and PST when it shows up. So it showed up in my mailbox with a bill that said, give us $43. So I got to resolve that. There is no customer service. It's impossible. So there's my whining out of the way. Having said that, this quad bundle was great fun. This one had been rumored for a while. Billy Cobham's Spectrum, one of the classic fusion records of all time, featuring the late great Tommy Bolin on guitar in one of the, if you like Tommy Bolin, you want to hear this record. Billy Cobham was pretty much hot out of the Mahavishnu Orchestra. He was, the drummer's drummer, did a lot of drum solos. There are at least 3 very brief solo drum compositions on here. There's a few innovative things. Jan Hammer's on here playing his Moog, as he was wont to do in these days. And so yeah, some of the titles, Taurian Matador, To the Women in My Life. But there's a great section, which song is that? I can't remember, where he uses what was then a brand spanking new Moog drum controller, which was essentially a small drum with a trigger in it that you would send off to your mini Moog, and you could bink, bink. It was a very early syndrome, I suppose. At any rate, I saw one of these crazy things here in Victoria, BC, in about 1972, I guess. And to say that I was completely fascinated by this without actually knowing what it did would be an understatement. But anyway, so what you have here is state-of-the-art drum tech. 73? What year is this record? Now, here's the thing about all these Quadios. They all... 73. The real glory years of quad, 73, 74. It got going in about 70. The initial batch of quad releases, a lot of them were remixed stuff that hadn't been intended for quad, many of which were like 4-track tapes. So a lot of them were kind of, and then as quad kind of got a foothold, people started mixing specifically for quad, and made records knowing they would ultimately be in stereo and quad. This was one of those. Now, this was done by Ken Scott, so you know it's going to sound good. The quad mix is great. It's exactly what you want out of this record. Stuff's all over the place. And it's high energy, A+. I would have bought this. I heard a rumor it was coming out, and I thought, and no, here's the thing. I don't think this ever came out in quad originally. And one of the real beefs about the series is there is no release information. So somewhere, somebody, please, I hope they watch these, put on it somewhere, like the booklets again, this is kind of slovenly. I'm not crazy about these, because in every one, their consistency, you get the front cover, great. You get the back cover, great. Good. Now, you get I don't know if this was I don't remember this coming with the original, but maybe that's what happened when they put it out on CD. I don't remember if this had much. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this was superimposed on here, on the original album, which of course I had. You get the obligatory tape box. I don't care about these. I don't know about you. They're cool and everything, and then you get the obligatory. This was on every quadradisc. This was the inner sleeve of every quadradisc. Now, they can't use quadradisc anymore for some reason, it seems. I'm not sure, but you'd never see the word quadradisc anywhere on any of these releases. But what I want is somewhere in here, put originally released stereo, whatever the release date was, and then quad release, whether... I don't think this came out in quad. I think this was mixed for quad, but I don't believe, and I looked up some of these the other day, but I can't remember what this was. I don't remember this being in quad in the day, and I think I would remember that. Excellent, great idea, thank you. Okay, another one. Woohoo! Now, Curtis Mayfield for me is problematic because I love his voice. I love his guitar playing. He was unique. He had a unique... When Curtis does it for me, he really does it. It's just perfect. When he doesn't do it for me, it's kind of awful. And so there's times when I'm listening to a Curtis Mayfield song going, oh boy. And then the next song, it'll be like, oh, this is neat. I love that, little things, the way he writes songs. This record, now, when I got all these, I sort of jumped through them all, which is always a stupid idea. But I wanted to figure out what I knew and didn't know already. I had not heard this record. I've got all the other three. I've got Curtis Live, Superfly, and this really are the four you need, I think. And I didn't have this, and I'd never owned it, and I'd never heard it. So, based on the fact that I quite liked Curtis, I absolutely loved Curtis live, and we all love Superfly, I figured this would be fantastic. Well, I didn't like it at first. I thought it was pompous and rococo, and he was one of these black artists that got really, really, really popular and figured he was going to be a spokesperson for his people. There's a lot of stuff on this that I just kind of wince at. It's very dated. The party scene at the beginning of one of the songs, which I listened to and I went, wait a minute, James Brown stole this. Because this is before, there's a record James Brown did where in between every song there's a little, yes, I can see it all now. James on his crazy thing. And he stole it from Curtis Mayfield, which I think is really funny. So, this record, the first problem for me on initial listening was the mix is god-awful. This is not a well-recorded. It's well-recorded, but the mix is fucking terrible. There is no bass in this record. No bottom frequencies of any description. It was done for AM radio, I'm sure of it. And the bass player... Now, there's... here's... Oh, man. He got a chance to completely orchestrate everything. He really got to disappear up his own rear end, is what he did. And he does it with some style. Now, I gave this another listen because I thought, there's no way. Now, there's a couple of things about this. One good idea, I think it was, somebody gave the bass player a fuzz pedal. Now, you don't hear this much in soul music, and it's almost like you listen to it and you think, this guy's never used a fuzz pedal before. There's a couple of unbelievably nasty guitar solos on this record. You got to get into it. On the surface, it seems like a pompous bunch of bullshit. And whether or not, I think part of it is because it just seems so dated now, But, we've got to have peace, really. Okay. However, the second listen, and I played it all the way through 1971. So this is old. This is 50 odd years old, and it's actually pretty great. There are little details. This guy is a really subtle artist for me. So I was slightly disappointed. It's on the fabulous Curtom label. Now, to my knowledge, this is not a WEA product. Curtom was, we're a winner. Curtom was Curtis's custom label when he was with Buddha. And then he moved over to WEA, lock, stock, and barrel, along with Curtom. But it was after 71. So this, again, we have no idea how this came out in quadrophonic in 1971. But I think, and again, I looked this up and I can't remember. I think it came out on quad tape. Quad 8-track, which is common. And a lot of things came out on quad 8-track tape that didn't come out on quad LP because 8-track tape was easy. I don't know why. There was less technical hassles. It was just a straight tape transfer. And Ampex was in charge of a lot of 8-tracks in those days. And it seemed that everything that came out on quad 8-track in the early mid-70s had some connection with Ampex. This had a connection with Ampex. So there you go. Roots by Curtis. I'm going to play it some more because there's a germ. I might just go on a Mayfield kick. All right, another one I thought, how could I not buy this? Aretha live at Fillmore West. Now this is, again, I don't know the details. There are no notes. This also came out only as a quadrophonic 8-track. It did not come out as a record. Now, I'm going to assume, let's check these. Finally, they got the labels the right color. That's good. Now, this is a good, not fantastic live album by Aretha. Jerry Wexler decided that he didn't want her to use his band. He wanted to use King Curtis's band, which everybody says was a great idea. So here you got, what do we got here? Oh, this is even, they're even skimpier here. They've kind of boiled down the Quadio nonsense, which is sensible enough. You get 2 tape boxes, which again, you don't need this. Now, here we go. Here are they've sort of done them, I don't know how they've done this. I don't remember how the original cover looked, but they do give you some good information. But there is, let me see. Oh, there we go. Remixed for quadrophonic by Arif Mardin and Jean Paul, which they should have added back in the day. Now, my complaint about this is that it's not great. It's really good. It's got, I mean, it would be better if it didn't have Love the One You're With on it and, you know, Bridge Over Troubled Water. I mean, you know, Make It With You. Come on. But it has moments. Ray Charles shows up and they have a spirited duet at the end. Now, apparently this came out as a extended thing some time ago, which had much more material on it. My question to Rhino is, was that ever mixed for quad? And if so, why wasn't it on here? So this is the original album. It's not anywhere near all the tapes. It's good. It's mixed. The quad in this, by the way, in the Roots, the quad is kind of what you would expect out of a black superstar. Stuff coming out of every corner. This is, credit to Jerry Wexler, it's a lot like being at the Fillmore, because the rear channels, it's just the ambience of the Fillmore. There are no instruments back there. Things kind of move maybe around the sides. But it's very faithful, and it's actually a really, really good earthy recording. You know, the Fillmore was kind of a grotty place. It's not like Carnegie. Well, it's Carnegie Hall. I've never heard a good recording at a Carnegie Hall with any amplifiers in it. But at any rate, it's a very worthy Aretha record. I was glad to buy it. $30 or no $30. And of course, it would have been $40 if it weren't for the free CD I got, which was The Spinner's Pick of the Litter. Now, the kind of, sometimes the tipping point for these bundles for me is, well, what's this thing? Well, now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know bugger all about the Spinners, really. Other than they had a real good run of hits in the 70s, some of which I distinctly remember because they were on the radio all the time. And they were pretty highly regarded by people who I listened to, like, for instance, Robert Christgau or a lot of other critics that, you know. Anyway, this record is one of the more highly regarded records. And the hit off of this that I remember is Games People Play, which is a really great, just an irresistible pop song. They do give you writing credits, but they're only last names, which is a bit And the cover, the credits, everything again is, well, microscopic for starters. They basically just give you the album cover, shrink it down. It's nice. There's no ringware on this one, because every copy of this record I've ever seen, the ringware has basically eliminated the cover. You do get what I'm assuming would have been the either whatever fold out or whatever. Now, this did come out as a quadrodisc on Atlantic, but they're not going to fucking tell me that now, are they? I mean, old school. This was actually a delight, and again, I listened to this twice. They kind of lose me in the ballads, but even then, the playing is good. The mix is very spatial. It's all over the place, which I like. It's tasteful. The players, who are, I think, MFSB, Philadelphia, are fabulous. And I was glad to get it as a freebie, even though really it wasn't a freebie. But so I'm, again, all these Cavales, and there's a lot of them. I really wish I had a job with these guys, because I don't know how much money they make on these. The thing is, these are specialty items. Boy, oh boy. You do get a good stereo mix out of each one of these, like a, whatever, fancy-ass, high-res stereo mix out of these. So there is that. But there's no, the collector in me goes, I want more. I want information. I want discographical information. I want just a little note in addition to the original cover. So Anyway, that's it for this bundle. I got to do the other one once I got sort of through it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that, and we'll get back at you with more stuff as and when. Look after each other, and try to be positive. That's what I would say. Whatever it is, try to laugh it off. Take it easy, and we'll talk at you later.